Hey, you fish freaks. Welcome to episode number 99 of the KFO Show, your ultimate source for all things kayak fishing. And this episode is brought to you by our show partner, Dark Horse Tackle. My friends over there, Zach and Josh are killing it. I love it. I'm set up with their subscription box right here, getting ready to open it. Seth getting ready to tie some things on later this week. So excited about that.
Speaking of them, did you see that one of the baits that they carry won the Elite Series event?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Which one was that?
I don't know what the name is, but I think it's sitting right here. I think this is the one.
Oh, yeah. That's the, is that Jig Masters?
I don't know.
Looks like a Jig Masters. All right, now we go.
If you guys remember what this one is?
I remember them talking about it when they were on the podcast.
It has a little bead and it clips a little bead, but he won. He caught some key fish on that. So
juicy.
Yeah, cool.
All right, well, head over to darkhorsetackle.com. They got you can do the subscription box, but they have a bait store too. So you can go there and just kind of pick and choose which ones you want, so you know exactly what you want. But next week, Seth, we have a big show, big giveaway show. Yeah. I'm giving away a Hoodoo kayak, $800, 2 $25 gift cards to Dark Horse Tackle, 2 $50 KBF bucks codes, so you can pay the next 2, KBF monthly tournaments with them if you want to. But here's the thing, you must be present to win. And so I'm going to do a thing where you type in #Hoodoo and you have to actually be here. We'll do a randomizer and you will win the kayak and we'll just ship it to your house. You don't have to meet me at some faraway land to pick up your kayak and so forth and so on. I think Cast King just wrote me recently. They're getting out some spools of fishing line as well. They got some braid. They're 13X. So it's gonna be a good time. I got something in store. I'm thinking party, Seth.
Yeah, I think so.
Like a ton of people from the past coming on and just shooting the bull and giving crap away.
Oh yeah, a lot of opinions. In there.
Yeah,
a lot of
100%. It's gonna be good. So Seth,
speaking of chat, though.
Oh, go ahead. What? Oh yeah. So if for those of you who are listening on the podcast, you're like, what are you guys talking about? But if you're listening in live right now on YouTube and on StreamYard, actually, they have a new feature and where it allows me to show the comments on stage. So you can actually see on stage now these comments, which is really cool, right? Because usually when you go watch the video on YouTube afterwards, you don't see any of the comments that are aggregated from all the platforms. I believe now when this runs on YouTube, you will actually see it. So just to let you guys know, y'all need to behave yourself because now all your comments are going to be out there for the world to see and not hidden on this on the StreamYard after the fact. But I have a killer guest tonight. We got Austin Hoover on the show. But before we go there, he's sitting in the green room. He's dodging tornadoes. He called me up a half hour ago. He's like, "Oh, can we push this half hour? I think a tornado is going to run me over." I was like, well, I can do whatever you want. I want you to be safe. He's like, all right, give me a second. I got to check out this radar. And he gives me a call back 15 minutes later. I think I'm good. I think it's north. And so if you see Austin just elevate to the top of his screen and out of his wherever he's at right now, a NATO got him. That's all right.
Yeah. A lot
Seth,
of views.
Brother, how you been, man? You went any tournaments? Went any tournaments recently?
No, I got third. I got third in the state championship here in Florida this past weekend.
You are a manimal.
St. John's. Yeah, thanks, man.
Dude,
I fish to win, man. Fish to win.
Dude, seriously, you're insane. I don't keep track of this, and so I'm sure you do because I know that it's a dream of yours to do it full time. But what is your record this past year on tournament wins?
I have it on my phone. You want me to read it to you real quick?
I do want you to read it to me. Rip through it real fast.
All right. So out of my events this year, it includes some Bassmaster events, Bass Nation, whatever. First 90th. Okay, I can explain that one. That one, I took risk. I had a fish DQ'd, whatever. So 90th. So it's first, 90th, third, first, second, first, second, first, third.
Bro, you need to calm down. You're on a rampage.
We're consistent.
Freaking rampage. Dude, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, and in the chat, the state champion, Chris Mitchell, is in there.
Too much. Too much.
He's the guy that beat me.
Yeah, Chris I love it.
A really good dude. Yeah.
Congrats, Chris. Congrats. All right. Austin's like, bro, it's like 8 minutes. I'm still sitting in the green room. Austin, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
What's up? How's it going, guys?
Good, man. Good.
Doing good. So I had the opportunity to spend some time with Austin. Literally, I made the announcement today. For those of you who haven't had a chance to look at YouTube, I basically did the classic I quit video. However, it wasn't very classic because I shared that I'm going full-time content creation. I quit my job. My last day was 21 days ago. And I'm rolling the dice. I'm risking it for the biscuit, folks. And so if you want to go hear kind of what that really is, I did some more like real talk. I'm not like, YouTube's not making me rich enough to cover what I was making at my old job. And so I am trying to find my new normal. So that's kind of new here. But literally the day after my last day at work, I drove down to hang out with Austin and his dad for the week, and we had a really good time. And so we got some business ventures in the works. You're going to hear more about KFast here in the future, kayak fishing, advanced safety training that Chad and I are working on. Austin will be working on. We're all going to be part of. So it's really awesome. But Austin, you and I are going to be spending some time together. We're going to be traveling to Vancouver Island.
Middle of nowhere.
Middle of freaking nowhere. The only things that live there are Chinook salmon, coho salmon, halibut, lingcod,
Probably some bears,
black sea bass, and it's gonna be ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
Ridiculous. So last
What,
week
we got
I had
month? What, we got a month too?
it's
No,
less than a month.
Less than a month. It's coming up quick.
So I had Keith Stevenson on. You guys listen to the podcast religiously, and he was like, "Bro, I need you to go. I need you to go. I need you to go." And so he finally talked me into it, and somehow I talked my wife into it. She's the saint because she gets to carry the burden of taking care of the household on the way. But nonetheless, we're gonna have a good time, and there's gonna be a lot of guys. There's gonna be the aggressively average anglers are gonna be on that trip. Guys from Bixby are gonna be on the trip. Vibe, Kayak Angler Magazine, Yak Attack, Austin, myself. I think it's like 13, 14 people going on this, and so you're gonna see a ton of content coming out of this because there's gonna be drones flying everywhere. Freaking,
they got killer whales up there too. Right?
Killer whales, they do. I'm not sure if like this is the time, but I guess like is the salmon highway is that where
I would love for your salmon to get taxed by a killer whale. That would be some solid content.
50% off. Get a half a salmon. Oh my gosh.
Like
so Austin, how you been, man? How's fishing going for you?
I ain't been fishing since you left pretty much. I went one time, well, a lot. I went one time and a half a time and sucked it up both times, went swinging for the fences and struck out, swung out my shoes. So hooked it, but lost it. So
what was it? What'd you lose?
I'm going to say somewhere between 9 and 11 pounds.
Oh, it's so painful.
Yeah, on glide bait. It's just, that's the joys of glide bait fishing, is especially if they're in a finicky mood, sometimes they just come up and nip it and they'll hook themselves on the outside of their face. And so when they start to pull, the hooks just pull out. Sometimes you don't get them. So that's just the joys of big bait fishing.
Yeah, sounds super joyful.
That's it.
I heard you guys went squirrel hunting too, Daren.
I went squirrel hunting.
Daren did.
Yeah, so
hunting.
you know what? I was thinking about this. So Chad and I went night fishing. Like Austin would go fishing with us all the time, but he literally has to like edit all the time. And so it's like, what are you doing? You're editing. We're going fishing. I was like, do you even like editing, Austin?
No.
No, freaking hates it. That's what he does.
Every part of every job you have some stuff you don't like. Editing is a part of my job that I don't like at all.
It is. It's tough work.
It's just mental. It's not hard. It's hard physically. It's just mentally having and I've got ADD, so I just sit down in one spot and then my brain just starts going otherwhere. And it's like, all right, just focus on the edit and then get the edit done. Then you can focus on what you're thinking about now. And my brain just keeps spinning. So
no, I hear you. Yeah, so I went squirrel hunting. So this is the short that Chad took me night fishing. We went to this awesome place, and I don't remember the last time I fished through the night. Mostly because I usually my body can't handle it the next day. I was like, hey, you know what? I'm down there I'm a kid in a candy store, right? I don't usually get to fish those waters where I can catch my personal best. And so we were supposed to shoot a lot of content, and we shot a lot of shorts. We were supposed to shoot some videos, but we scrapped that. It's like, man, I just got PB on my brain. And so I missed one in the dark. It had to be an 8. I know it's my PB, and it spit my baby jack. which that lure is freaking on fire. At least it was. That is money. That thing is insane. It's insane price. Also 17, but man, it just works. And then I think I lost another 8. And so I lost my chance. It spit me on the jump. That was on a jackhammer. I don't know why I lost that one because I pinned it really good. It was, I think it's the same fish that Chad lost earlier that day. It must have like that titanium mouth or something because it is wild. So night fishing was fun. However, when you're never done night fishing before, I'm still learning like the shallow cast and can't see sometimes. I'm fishing around bends and I think it's free and I get it caught up in a tree. And of course I got to get out of my kayak and I got to like start trenching through thorns. Of course, there's tons and tons of thorns to get my $17 lure that I stole from Chad that I don't plan on paying back for. And so, yeah, this is it was a good time. It was a lot of fun. Oh, it's been a wild week. Content's been wild on my end. I was just sharing with Seth, Jeff, this past week alone, like 3.5 million views on Facebook alone. And so the content that Chad and I kind of shot together has kind of taken off. And also people just lose their mind when they see when they see a rigged, tricked out kayak. Austin, why is this that people lose their mind? and it's like a visceral reaction whenever they see a kayak with rods and reels and graphs that the first thing that comes to their mind is go, you should have bought a boat. You could buy a nice used boat. You could buy a nice John boat. What? Why? I literally got maybe thousands of comments. That is just buy a boat.
I don't know. I think it's like we have these purists out there to where kayak needs to be like you're still sitting on the boat, you got a paddle and you got 2 rods. And anything other than that is like just not okay. And then they just lose their mind on it.
It's not even the kayak people. I mean, it's people that's coming out. I guess they have a boat.
Oh yeah, I mean we do get people from the boat world. Just like there's probably people. Oh, I say probably. I know there's people out there that will never touch a kayak, never have touched a kayak, but they're commenting on kayak stuff.
Yeah, I love it because whenever I start getting like comments and people just going like crazy and saying people doing people stuff, I'm like, yeah, finally. The algorithm is serving my content to a new audience that doesn't like it, and they're gonna let you know about it. And meanwhile, just cha-ching, cha-ching.
Keep commenting.
I know. Keep commenting. Sometimes I'll play with them because I know they're gonna comment back. Yeah.
Is that why Austin put that large pole in like his big screens, like obnoxiously large up front, so you can stand up and scope and everything for those comments? Because it works.
No, that's just because it's easy. That boat, it's not just for. Oh, power just went out.
Oh, it's working. You're still here.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't see nothing. Both screens just went black.
That's odd. That's still working.
Can y'all see me?
Yeah, we see you.
I'll just talk to a black screen then. No, I put that there. So that whole mount, it's a Millennium. It's called the double graph mount from Millennium, and on the XTR, I wanted all my stuff back a little bit. Why can't I see it all?
You can move over to your phone if you want.
Well, if you can still see me on my computer.
I can hear you. You're just frozen.
There,
now you're back.
There. Okay. So back to where I'm literally tornadoes. Like, look, I just got another tornado amber alert. So
you're good. Risk it for the podcast.
Yeah, I'm fighting that right now. So,
your dad's in the comment section. You might want to say goodbye. You love him. Yeah. Say your last final words because
it's been a ride.
Yeah, it's been a ride. Thanks, Pops.
So what were we talking about? The double graph. Why did I do that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
One, if I am scoping, it's not just for scoping. If I am scoping, it's easier to see. It's up there. It's close. And then when I'm sitting down also, that thing extends pretty much into your lap. It's like typing on a computer at some points. And so every time me too, up until this kayak came out, every kayak you're doing, let's say you're going side scanning to find some offshore fish or a grass line or whatever. Anytime you want to mark something, you got to bend over, go to the front of the graph, mark your stuff, then go to the front of it. I don't like bending over. So I just started looking at other options, and that's what I came up with.
It makes your
just so happens to get clicks.
It makes the screen larger. So like if you have a 12-inch graph and it's 4 feet in front of you, okay, whatever. You bring it here, That sucker's like a 20-incher now.
I always joke about like the Bassmaster elites. Like you look at like a Easton Fothergill or Andy Morgan, they're all like 6'4", right? And then you look at a JT Tompkins, they're like 5'5". I was like, that's an advantage right there.
Oh yeah.
Just from a physical strain point of not having to bend down and see as far. So yeah. So my 10-inch graph is probably what I see is bigger than what some of these pros are seeing with a 12 down on the deck.
And it makes a huge difference for people that don't really scope it. Being able to see the tiny little movement, makes a big difference. And
it's not just for scoping; it helps for scoping, but a lot of times it's like I said for the side scan feature, just so I can mark stuff, and then also I can just fold it forward and just get it completely out of the way. Like if I'm going to Gunner's Zone, I'm fishing docks or whatever, right? I'll just fold it up on the front of the deck, and it's just there, and it's out of the way. So that's why I
fold that mother down.
I can fold it all the way down into the deck, and I can fold it all the way to the back. I can fold it to the side. I can fold it whichever way I want, and it'll get as flat as it needs to get.
What's the mount?
Do a video on that because I thought it was like.
It's the Millennium Marine double graph mount. So they make
that just sounds expensive when you said it.
No, it's actually $250. It's probably the cheapest double graph mount out there. It's the cheapest that I've seen. That's like worth it. That's not just straight up junk.
Right.
But it's also the most functional one. Like Beatdown has a nice one. It's got some nice knobs and nice stuff on it, but it only goes this way. You know what I'm saying? Like it only has one axis to fold. It's either up or down. The Millennium goes side to side, up and down, and then I can actually change the head of the two graphs together or individually. So it's got a lot of adjustment in it.
Seth, what are you thinking?
I just run one graph. I just got a 12-incher right now. So.
Well, they make a single. They make the same mount for a single.
The problem that I would have is if I bring it closer, I still keep my pedal drive in because I use my pedal drive for like small movements. So it'd have to be up over, which then would be kind of
in the way of a pedal.
Yeah, in the way a little bit. But I do like the concept though, bringing it closer. Mine is as close as you can get it without like being in my way.
Yeah.
So I can.
I mean, some people get it close by putting it like right by their knee or whatever, but then you got to like look down at an angle and. Right. I don't like that. It's all preference.
Now, how easy is the thing to move? Right? Is it kind of like spring loaded where you kind of move it, or do you guys go like start untightening knobs and stuff like that?
You just got to do a little knob. It's got teeth in it. It's got like to where that way it doesn't just slide
on you. Yeah.
But it's super easy to move. Like I posted a reel the other day. I hooked a fish, and it was mainly just for shoots and giggles. I hooked a fish and wanted to go to. I didn't really need to go to the front of the deck, but I did, and I just pushed the graphs out of the way, ran to the front of the deck. Did some ninja moves and then brought the fish to the other side. So it moves easy.
Yeah. And
so
you run.
I can set. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You can set.
I can set all the knobs, right? And I can tighten it down and lock it down, but I also can set it to where it's tight enough to where it's not going to move unless I want it to move and I apply, some good pressure to it.
Nice. So walk people through what your rig is, kind of the features of it. If you haven't seen this, it shows up a lot on kayak bass fishing. It's a good looking rig. You have an XTR.
Yep, Bonafide XTR 130. It's got a motor guide on the front. It's got the Millennium. I don't know why it keeps skipping my brain. The Millennium double graph mount. It's got two Lowrance HGS 10s on it, and let's see, I'm playing it in my head. The seat. It's got a seat cushion on it. Then I got a 16x16 Black Pack Pro with a short stack on it that has in the Black Pack itself. I've got the two batteries, one battery for the electronics and one battery for the motor. And then I got a short stack on there for some extra tackle. And then on the back, I have an Anchor Wizard or a power pole or sometimes both.
Okay.
Seems pretty simple. I mean,
do you ever rotate out a Torpedo?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. I like offshore fishing. I really do. So I personally believe, there's certain fisheries and certain times of the year and places that this is not true, but for the most part, your bigger fish live offshore. So I just forced myself to learn how to fish offshore. Like Gunnersville, there's probably I know there is. There's 9 and 10 pounders up shallow 365 days a year if there's water in there and it's not just completely freezing. But you start getting on reservoirs and places that don't have grass, most of your bigger fish are going to be offshore, and I like catching big fish, so I just learned how to fish that way.
Yeah.
Florida's a little different, Florida's its own creature, but for the most part, offshore is where your bigger fish live.
So this kind of takes us into our topic of the night, how to dominate summer bass fishing. And so I wanted to have you on because I know you put up the donkeys. and I've seen that. And you like to target large fish. And so let's hop into this. And so, and what's your overall approach? I know you talked about a little bit summer bass fishing, right? How does it differ from spring to fall? Not everybody listening in has been fishing as long as you have. I literally was reading your dad's book on kayak bass fishing that he wrote, and I was looking in there, and I was like, "This is Austin," but this is Austin at like 5 years old, and you've been fishing with your pops and in the industry for probably from since you can remember, right?
No,
So,
I mean, I got my own kayak when I was 4. Like
yeah.
I started paddling my own kayak and making my own decisions at 4. So now I'm 25.
So before we hop into, sorry, now I want to back up because I did have this
Okay.
question. I didn't write it down anywhere. What has life been like for you? Because there's probably nobody, absolutely nobody listening in right now, or who have lived and been so immersed into kayak bass fishing than you at your age.
Okay.
What was that? Like? Yeah, what was that life like? What did you love about it? What was tough about it?
I'll just give the cliff notes of my life. Is obviously I kayak fished when I was young. Well, then when I got into my teenage years, I kind of took a break from it as far as I hit high school, typical high school guy things, father, son don't get along, start chasing girls, all that good stuff. And then I worked in high school. I was a commercial electrician for 11 years, 10 years, somewhere in there. So during that time in high school, and then pretty much I didn't never go to college, but what probably would have been my sophomore year or end of freshman year of what would have been college, but I didn't go. I bass fish out of a boat. So I did that through high school. Me and my buddy started the high school fishing team for a school called Station Camp, and I fished in boats all of high school. Well, then I got out of high school, and then I was like, okay, I need my own boat. Then I started looking at boat prices, and then I was like, yeah, no.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. I think I'm gonna go back to I always fished out of the plastic boats, but also in my younger, I don't know what the exact numbers would be. Let's see if I played it back. Maybe like 12 to 16. Some could say I probably got burnt out on kayak fishing because I was homeschooled for a little bit of it, traveled the road with Chad for the TV show, and went to Canada and probably got burnt out on kayak fishing itself just because we went hard in the paint. I mean, there's no way around it. We did it, and I might have just got burnt out on it, and then somewhere along the lines I got back into it, and that fire ignited, and it has not been put out since, and it hasn't even dimmed.
How long has that been?
Oh, probably 21, about right. So about
you're 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So on from 4 to, I would say about 16 was doing it, and then from 16 to, so about 4 or 5 year hiatus, some would say. Did a lot of creek fishing at that time, just waiting. I was lucky enough and blessed to be living in Middle Tennessee, which has creeks and rivers all over the place that you can wade. And I did that, and then like I said, back around 21, I got back into kayak fishing and reignited that flame per se, and it's bright as ever.
Yeah, I love it. So what are Austin Hoover's dreams?
My dream is just to be able to fish and make a living doing it. That's really it. I don't have much. I just love fishing, actually. So
it's a simple man, folks.
Yeah, I'm very simple. I mean, I just want to be able to fish, and I want to be able to make a living doing it. That's it.
That's it. I mean,
I say that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. So they call it a dream for a reason. So
yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, when I think I had, was it Fluke Master I had on Seth? I was like, hey, Fluke, who's one up and coming person should watch out when it comes to fishing, comes to content creator? And he's like, you need to watch out for Austin Hoover, is what he said. I was like, oh man, come on. And I was like, you know what? I need to have Austin on the show. Once he said that, I was like, popped in my brain. We got to get him on here because you're 25. You got a lot of years of life ahead of you. So you have a lot of time to make this happen. And I believe, no doubt about it, with the people in your corner and the skill set that you have when it comes to editing, the skills that you have when it comes to just straight out catching them and targeting them. Yeah, I do not believe that you wouldn't be able to do this. I believe it's just going to happen. It's kind of already happening, but I think you want to remove the editing part and just kind of do the fishing, the fishing part.
You'll
Figure
never
that
get
out.
out of editing in this industry. You're gonna edit
Oh my
something at some
gosh.
point.
The dream is to make enough money to pay for an editor, and
Oh, yeah.
that's the dream. And so
Yeah, there's the dream. Me just get to go fishing and then offload everything and say, hey, I need this done.
Darren likes to edit. Darren likes to edit.
oh my gosh.
I don't think he
Freaking
likes to
edit.
edit. I think he's just learned how to make himself think he likes to edit so that way he can get
Yeah,
through
he just tricks his own brain. Yeah.
You got to trick your
I love
brain,
this.
folks.
I love this.
It's, kind of positive attitude makes it just a little easier. If you focus on the negatives the whole entire time, you'll never get through it.
100%. I love sitting at my computer and just going over the
yeah.
same video 6 times when I could be out fishing. The good news is that I was able to go out today. I went to the new lake, met with my buddy. I had a podcast last night till like midnight. Then I got up at 4:30 a.m. Drove an hour, met my buddy at 5:30 a.m. and checked out new lake. It didn't do too bad. Got 2 18s and a halves, and I got a kicker with a 21-inch donkey, which is here in Ohio. That's a nice one. And so on the board, all I need is an 18 and a half, and I take first place for the month here in Ohio. So Seth, I know you always try to poke the bear. I'm one kicker away from taking first. So
You
I get a
ain't first
20.
or last, Darren.
Right now I'm last because I only have 4 fish on the board. I don't post fish typically under like 17 inches. I really don't even like doing 17. I just really do 18. It's not an 18. I'm not winning first or second, so I'm never going to be in the money because there's not enough people in there. All right. So Austin, back to the original question. I was curious about that because that's Seth's dream as well. Figure out a way. I think is that everybody's dream listening in right now? I'm assuming that if you're watching a kayak fishing podcast, you're like, hey, my dream.
I don't know about. I think there is some people that are just pure fans of the sport. Like,
but if they could do it full time, they wouldn't.
No, I think there's a lot of people that might think that they want to, but then when they get into it, they'll learn real quick it's not what it seems like. But I have met some people before, and I'm saying this because I met somebody.
No, this is good.
Like, he's like, I really respect people like you and other content creators and all this stuff. He's like, because I don't want to do that. I just want to go fishing and have fun and just be my getaway, and it doesn't have to be my work. So, only reason I bring it up.
I thought it was Randy Blockett at first, but that definitely was not Randy there.
Phil McCurry is like, yep, that's me. Love to do that. Colin B. Basson says, my dream is to work in the fishing industry. Currently going to college for an outdoor industry entrepreneur business degree. There you go.
Nice.
Yeah. Here we go. Yep. Catching reds from the kayaks would be awesome from Southwest Indiana Outdoors. I just want to make the baits that catch all the fish.
Yeah, Ranger makes some cool baits too. Actually,
he does?
Yeah, I don't know where it's at, but I got one here. One of his baits. Yeah, he makes his own baits and paints them and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Phil, when he grows up, he wants to be like Seth.
What's the company?
Yeah. What's the company? I don't know. I think he runs it by his name. Okay. It might be Granger Baits or something like that. Granger.
Let us know in the comments. What's the name or the website where people can find you?
Yeah, hand paint.
All right, so Austin, we're going to hop into spend the rest of our time on summer bass fishing. I had a lot of different questions. I'm kind of asking these from a standpoint of for someone who may not, or maybe getting into fishing kind of like first time, what to be thinking about. And so what's your overall approach to summer bass fishing, right? And then how it kind of just frame it up, like how's this going to differ for you from the spring and the fall?
Well, I mean, right now, we'll just do for right now. Like summer and right now is like right now where we're at right now, and then true summer is a little different. But right now we're coming out of the post spawn, right? So these fish are thin. I mean, they are paper thin. I call them paper bellies. So I'm looking for bait, and depending on the certain fishery you're on, what is their main forage going to be? Is it bluegill, shad? And shad is two different things. Like threadfin and gizzard are two different things. Like gizzards are like there's a few of them. In threadfin, there's a million of them together, and in my experience, more of your gizzards are more related more towards the bottom, hard points, all the basic offshore stuff that you hear about, and then your bait balls are going to be, like your threadfin balls are going to relate to vertical banks, wind-blown vertical banks. If you get in on a certain fishery and you get on a wind-blown vertical bank, hold on, because there's going to be some hungry fish, some fat fish, and a lot of fish. So those
So
are,
how
I'm
long?
looking for the bait.
How long would you say? I've done some research on this, so I think I know the answer, but I want to hear your opinion. How long would that bank need to be wind blown in order for the plankton to get set up, for the bait fish to
They say
follow, for the
they
bass to
say
follow?
3 days. They say 3 days. As
I'm
far
thinking
as a
like
rule of thumb. But
3. It's a long
I've
time.
seen I've seen it to where literally in an hour it'll change. I've seen
Wow.
I've in like 12 hours, like I'll be fishing on one day and I'll see all the fish on this bank, and then the wind will switch overnight and I'll be back there the next morning. And that same bank I was on that evening wearing them out on, they've moved.
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing. They have moved with that bait, and it all depends on your fishery. If it's a shad dominant fishery, you're going to get a lot of suspended fish. You're going to get a lot of fish that are moving. They're roaming. They're not staying in the same spot. They're not sitting on a brush pile. They're just staying with these bait balls, and then they just keep them in sight, keep them in check, and then when they're hungry, they go. So, main thing I look for is bait. That's it.
Yeah,
You
that's
find the
works.
bait.
If you're out there, and I have an app that actually shows me wind blown like shores for 3 days in the past and 7 days in the future. So I could literally plan it. And if I
Yep.
see a wind blown shore for 12 to 24 hours, and it's because it shows on the deep dive app as like red. And if I can
Yep.
scroll and I see that's red for 12 to 24 hours, I know that's the first place I'm typically going. And that's the beauty of the technology nowadays, because before these apps, like you have to be a freaking weatherman and track all this stuff on a piece of paper, which is ridiculous. And so now that technology can really give you an advantage.
It just speeds the process up.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
making it convenient and easy. Like you said, you don't have to sit there and write down. You can get on. You don't have to be the person checking their app going, okay, today was west-northwest, tomorrow is this west, and then the next day is this one. Okay, so we need to go to this bank. It just makes it easy.
Yeah, 100%. So when you see the summer, do you kind of break it up into early, mid, and late summer? And how does that affect how you fish a body of water? And of course, kind of make it to help people understand, because I'm up here in Ohio. I'm in a different,
Everybody's lake's different.
Completely different. So frame it for us, kind of what you're looking at, water temperature, kind of what the shad spawns,
this
stuff like
time
that.
of
And
year,
then,
and this is something I have put together, and there's no science behind it. It could just be pure luck. So don't take this for. There's another tornado.
bro, you should probably look at that. Well, we'll give you a moment to take a look at that to make sure that the.
Let me see where it's at.
I mean,
anyway, what I'm saying.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Sorry for the interruption.
What were we just? Now my brain's all messed up.
Should be. You got Amber Alerts flying off in your.
It's the sixth one.
Just kidding. 6?
Eventually, one of these is going to be true.
Oh my gosh, I feel bad for even keeping you on. If you need to go, we'll let you go.
No, I'm good. I'm watching. Now this one's even closer. Great.
If you hear everyone start hearing a freight train in the background.
If it gets cluttery in here, it was nice knowing y'all. Appreciate it.
Man, thanks for the information. We'll use it for the rest of our lives.
I got it right now. Here's where I was at. When I see that water go from, like I said, there's no science to this. That I've seen. It's just something that I've paid attention and put a pattern together. When that water starts hitting 75 degrees, my number one thing I'm going to look for is structure right after where I would think they'd be spawning. If they're in the back of a pocket and that water temperature is 75 degrees, I'm going to go find me a brush pile towards the mouth of that same cove, creek, or whatever that they were spawning in, and they're most likely going to be there. That's that's my early, like right now, as soon as post spawn's over, as soon as I think the spawn is done and they're heading out per se. Some lakes they don't move out. Some lakes they stay, native to that area. But I'm definitely checking the first structure inside the mouth of a creek.
All right.
That'd be early.
There's some things that pop into my mind when I was fishing with your dad. He was like, "Oh yeah, Austin caught like a 9 over here," and it was right in those areas that you just explained, right?
Yep.
All right, that's pretty cool. All right, so you said that was early.
That's early, yeah.
And 75 degrees, that's the water temperature right now down there. Yes or no? Is it close?
No, it's like 80, 82.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's
on the freaking rise.
Scorched. It went like this. And that's surface temp, of course, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, and eventually, so we're going to go from early to mid. We're going to have a thermocline happen. So when that thermocline happens, depending on your lake, pretty much anything under 20 to 25 feet is gone. You're not going to find fish in it, or at least a lot of fish in them. So I'm going to go look at everything from 20, 25 feet up. And a lot of times, and I don't know what it is, because I've been in a creek certain times of year and I pay attention every year to try to develop something.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no right or wrong. Like if you go to the back third, the front third, because it all has to deal with, you got to understand, like, especially with reservoirs and like mountainous lakes and stuff, we have water that's constantly coming in, that's all constantly changing the water temperature, cooling it off, warming it up. And these fish are always, like you can see fish in Guntersville spawn from March till June because of what I'm talking about. Water coming in and cooling it off and, confusing the fish. But once that's over, that 75, I'm going to go the ledges, the typical ledges. They're going to want to be somewhere where they can stay deep in that cooler water because the surface water is so hot for them. But then they want to be able to go up, feed, and then come back.
All right. So before we move on to kind of late summer, that was early and that was mid. What are some
kind of? It's in my head, but I don't know if I can relay it right.
No, I think we're all just connecting the dots. And so whenever you say something, we're literally when you were like, hey, off the spawning, wherever they're at, and the piece of structure, everybody in our mind probably went to that lake or that spot. We're like, oh, I know exactly where that is at. So I think we're connected. At least I'm connecting the dots. Seth over here probably winning another tournament, just listening in somehow.
Well, a lot of these things don't exist in most Florida lakes.
Yeah, Florida's its own creature.
I fished Guntersville already, so when you're talking about a lot of the stuff, I'm picturing Guntersville.
So really quick, go
ahead.
No, finish your thought because I have my question here.
The summer fishing for me in some lakes, they're going to be in a third of a creek. This is basic rule of thumbs. Nothing that I'm claiming that I came. They're going to be in a third. Just figure out which third that is, and then when you figure out that third, I break it into thirds: 1, 2, 3, and then where in that column are they? Once you can find which third they are, forward and aft, or whichever way you want to call it, then just figure out, are they in? I break it down into 0 to 5, 5 to 10, and then 10 to 20, because 10 to 20 is kind of which three of those water columns are they in? If you can figure out those two things, you're about to have a good time.
Yeah, you just keep recreating that in every single code.
Just
keep trying to find those two pieces of information. Right on.
I love it. And you use your layers on your Garmin or whatever, you break it down like 2 to 6 feet or 6 to 10, 10 to 15, whatever.
Depends on the lake. Yeah,
right. All depends. When you find that like sweet spot where they're at, and you go into your graph and you put the settings on different colors, you can take everything else off or whatever, and you just have that color.
Turn that depth to green and stay in the green.
That's what I did on Dale Hollow to get second in that event. Is I put it in. They were in like 7 to like 12 feet. And I just put 7 to 12 feet on there and looked for main lake 7 to 12 feet that had a wide band, like a spawning flat, like a wider band, and also pockets that had a wider color range and not like a steep drop off. Yep. And those are my spots I hit in practice and marked all the beds. And so when you like Austin's saying, if you find that range where they're at, put it in your graph and get those bands, and it'll show you the lake.
All right. So for those of us without fancy electronics, explain what I know what you're talking about, but explain what it is this technology does.
You want to go ahead, Austin?
Explain the graphs and everything?
Yeah, explain the graph and what you're talking about, your shading and kind of what.
So the graph has an ability to say, like, I can go in and we have topo lines, right? And we have all these lines, and when I go in and I set every 5-foot increments just for my lakes. It just separates those things good. But some lakes you need a 10-foot increment because you got a long flat bay and you need to see those bands. Well, what it does is it's really allowing you not to have to look at the number and then the contour and itself. You're just looking at a color. You're just like, for me, if I get, like Seth was just saying, he got on and he said 7 to 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my graph and I'm going to turn everything 6 and under to white or blue, whatever your standard is, and then everything from 13 beyond of 60 feet. And it's going to be white, and then I'm going to highlight green, or choose whatever color in your head. If red is the color in your head, in your mind, that says, yes, that's where I need to be, 7 to 12, and then I don't know if I have a picture of it. No, I don't. 7 to 12, if green, just stay in the green. Just look at your map, look at your charts, and just say, I'm staying in this and I'm fishing this.
Yeah,
That's it.
It's pretty neat technology. If you don't have a fish finder or you're thinking about getting into a fish finder, that could be a game changer. So you're not, and you could like you could zoom out on your maps, be like, oh, this green actually there's a big flat over here that's really green. I'm gonna have to go 5 minutes to go over to get to it, and it just keeps you in the spot. There it is.
Yeah, it helps you identify locations you wouldn't know otherwise. That would be like a sweet spot type area.
And it really helps. It really helps determine whether that bank is actually steep and not, and it does it quickly for you. Like as you can see, like the black right there, that's a super steep bank. You know, this is pretty steep over here too, but that's vertical. And so you're not having to sit there and be like, oh yeah, those lines are kind of close to each other. Like on my graph, I've got my stuff set to, 0, 5, 5, 10, 10, 15, 15 to 20, and then anything after 20, I go deep blue because a deep dark blue, because to me it's like the deep Black Sea to
Makes
me.
sense.
So anything after that, I don't even need to worry about.
So let's go a little bit tactical before we head into late summer. Early summer, you told us kind of where you're fishing. What are you fishing with? What is the lures that you like to bring out in early summer and then in midsummer?
Chatterbait, spoon, spinnerbait, topwater.
Spoons. Talk a little about that. I feel like it's one of those things that I don't have a lot of spoons in my arsenal. Be completely
It
honest
takes a
with you.
certain. The lake and the fish have to set up a certain way for a spoon bite to be worth it, to where it's worth throwing that spoon, and you can't just throw something else, if that makes sense.
Well, walk
Versus,
us talk some more on that.
if they're around bait, and this is something Active Target has taught me, so I don't, whatever aisle you stand on with forward facing sonar, it's taught me something.
About to teach all of us something.
If they're in a chasing mood, right? I find, especially on a heavily pressured fishery, they'll follow a bait down and they'll hit it on the fall. So if they're chasing bait, or let's say I pan over to a bait ball and I scan that bait ball and all I see is just fish just coming up and boiling through the bottom of it. Usually that means I can get a spoon bite, and I can get it better than, let's just say, throwing a chatterbait or throwing a minnow or throwing something, because they're used to having to chase something. We're all trying to imitate what they're chasing, or their actual thing. So if they're chasing and then you're throwing a bait and just leaving it in their face, that's not natural to them. So it throws them off, especially the big fish. So if they have to chase a spoon and a blade bait, depending on your size bait fish, that kind of depends on which one I'm gonna go with. If you're on a place that's got real big gizzards, throw the spoon. If you're on a threadfin fishery, strictly threadfin, I would probably throw a blade bait to mimic that a little bit better. So that's really it. It's just if you can see them chasing, and let's say you don't have forward facing sonar, right? If they're busting on top, just blowing bait out of the water, looking like orcas, they're chasing. So if you can see that on the water, and you want to get under them and catch them big fish, throw a spoon over there and let it get under them, and throw one that's like an ounce, ounce and a quarter, so that way it gets past the small fish quickly. I like to throw a big swim bait too. One of my favorite things to do is to throw a 6-inch swim bait, soft, just like a 6-inch whale, the 6.0 one. Yeah. Throw that past the school and bring it under, and that's where the bigger fish are going to be.
Nice. Dude, your gizzard shad are crazy down there. I'm night fishing, and
massive.
these fish are jumping everywhere. I had one jump in my boat.
Yeah.
I was like, what in the world? I guess I don't night fish a whole lot up here where I'm at, but I don't have them jumping out of the water like they did in that particular. Maybe it's a night fishing thing. Who knows? All right, so this takes us all the way to late summer. So this is like, okay, looking a little bit into the future for you.
This is the hard part, especially if you're on a fishery like Gunnersville, because if you're late summer Gunnersville, you're probably going to be putting a broomstick in your hand and just punching around for the entire day.
There's already a ton of weeds. Insane.
Gunnersville is pretty crazy right now. The last 3 years, just watching it where it's at the same point of every year is, to me, it's a little concerning. I'm going to just say it, and we'll just let the internet do what the internet does. But it's a little concerning, the amount of grass and how thick it is.
Well, yeah, because you guys took me to a spot.
Yeah.
And we got
that
there.
spot's usually juicy, thin, the perfect amount of
Open
thickness. Yeah,
lines.
open lines, the right mats in it to where, it's not top to bottom. It's just enough to give them that shade that they want so that they can just chill and be away from eagles, be in the shade. So anyway,
It was choked.
yeah.
Welcome to
choked
Florida.
Yeah. But late summer is still something I struggle with. It's still something I have not dialed in to where I feel like I can be a help. Obviously, I can tell you the typical answers: hair jig, spoons. Just get on a vertical bank and find you some structure. That's really it. Because late summer, they'll start to just settle down. They will really. That's if you find a brush pile. That brush pile can be your best friend until it starts cooling down again. Because they'll just stay at that brush pile and ambush all summer. They'll sit in it. You can pull them away from it, and they'll go right back to it. Unless you put them in a live well and ride them around for 9 hours, and then that fish ain't getting back to that brush pile. I digress.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think I've ever fished a hair jig in my entire life. I don't think I could own one. Seth, I could almost answer this for you because you have like your core.
I mean,
your core tackle.
Floridas and hair jigs don't go together. That's
yeah.
No.
That's a reservoir thing.
Interesting. Huh. I need to do some research on that. Maybe with all my now time that I have, maybe I'll go grab a hair jig and fish it around a little bit. See what happens.
I don't know what the lakes look like in Ohio, but put a hair jig in your arsenal. I promise you won't be disappointed.
I have a feeling. I picked up that 21 today on a jig, so it's looking similar.
There you go.
So how do you approach fishing? You guys are kind of heading into extreme heat, or you're already there in high pressure systems.
Well, for me, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I walked outside today and it was 91 degrees. I was like, I'm done.
Cool.
Just get me to winter.
Because that's your favorite is fishing in the winter.
It has quickly become my favorite because of a couple of reasons. The fish are fat as they'll be probably the entire year.
There you go.
And there's nobody else on the water.
So what's the water temperature? What's the air temperatures and stuff? Why is no one on the water? Because
you got to think. You got college football here in the South. You got college football going on. You got actual football going on. You got deer hunting, duck hunting. You got vacations for families. People who have family and they have to travel. So people are always traveling, going to see other families across So it just takes a lot of people. Most of it's the woods. Most people just give up fishing. They love fishing in the warm months, and then when it comes to the cold months, that's deer and ducks. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Do your thing. I'm gonna do my thing. So.
Yeah.
All right. So you're not saying necessarily. You're just saying they get distracted. You get the lake to yourself.
Yeah. For some people,
it's some of the best fishing for you.
Some people fishing isn't their life. Like it's not what they think about.
I don't understand.
24/7.
Don't understand what you're talking
weird
about.
People.
So bizarre. I have a visceral reaction to that statement.
Yeah.
You should just go fishing. Are there any unconventional lures or techniques you rely on when the bite gets tough?
Nothing crazy. My big thing that I've really learned is, and this is on especially high pressure fisheries, is cycle. You get on high pressured fisheries, the bite not just might be tough. It might just be they've already seen that bait 15 times, and if you can just cycle through baits, you're gonna find something eventually that they're gonna eat.
How many rods, reel combos are you carrying at any given time?
Anywhere from 11 to 14.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. How do you even fit that many on a 16 by 16?
Well, I got 4 and 4
on the sides.
I got 4 and 4 on one side. I could put 5. If the little like it goes like this on the black pack. The little. I don't have a tube in here. There's some handles on the side of the handle.
Yeah, the tether tube handles.
Yeah, if you cut them off, you can fit more on one side.
Oh, there you go.
I only run 4, but you can run 5 on a 16 by 16 if you cut those little handles off. So you got 4 and 4 on each side. That's 8. Then I have the Yak Attack, the Side Stage Pro, which is 3. So that's 11. And then the XTR or the Power or whatever boat you're in has some kind of rod storage on the side. And those I have 3, up to 3. Most of the time it's just 1 or 2 of like, hopefully I don't need these, but I'm going to put them on the boat just in case.
Yeah. Yeah, I get the question all the time. Why you got to carry so many? It's just
I don't want to. I want to cycle through baits. That's it.
No, 100%. I mean, someone earlier in the comment section, I think it was Elimination. It's like, hey, when you're on the golf course, you just take one club. That didn't make any sense. For the same reason.
To Austin's point there, and a lot of people know on bed fishing, like fish have different personalities. What I've learned over the last couple of years with scope is that it's not just the bed fish. Like I really feel like every fish has a different personality. And when you can see them, you can tell, like when you're throwing baits at them, that they're interested, they'll look at it, but they're not going to commit. They'll look at it, they won't commit. And then you'll throw something random that you don't typically use, and that'll be what triggers the fish to bite, or some of those big ones to bite. And it might not be every fish. It might have just been that fish. You can go back to a jerk bait or whatever for other ones. So I think, like Austin was saying, cycling through your baits makes a big difference. And it might not be the pattern. It might just be that certain fish. So
but don't let off all. I've also, it's the flip side. This is fishing, right? It's just decisions. Don't let that be your kryptonite to where you go out there and every day you're going fishing. Just putting it out there. So for people that are watching, don't just go out there and just 3 casts, 1 bait, 2 casts, because there is some days you just need to stick 1 bait in your hand, trust that bait, and go.
That was me with the baby jack when I was down there. My gosh, I just knew in a matter every 5 minutes I was catching a fish. I just kept it on.
If they didn't bite the baby jack, you didn't want them, Darren.
No, I don't even want you. I don't want to look at you.
There's nothing wrong with some people that just, like, I go out all the time. I'm like, I'm gonna catch them on a glide bait, or I ain't gonna catch nothing.
That's right.
Yeah,
I
mean,
it's gonna be big.
I was having a conversation with you and your dad, and he was like, "Hey, there's like the evolution of the angler.
Yep.
It's first you just want to catch, any fish. Then you want to catch a lot of fish. Then you want to catch big fish. Then you want to catch big fish consistently, and then you want to catch, I forget what he said it, but essentially you want to catch it with a specific lure.
Any fish.
Yes.
I've heard this my entire life.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Any fish, mini fish, big fish, mini big fish, technique fish.
Technique fish. That's what I was looking for.
That's the 5.
Yeah, that's a bait. I'm catching it with this lure, or I'm going broke trying to do it.
If you're not in a tournament, go for it. Or if you want to finish dead last in the tournament and just say, I swung for the fences, then go ahead.
Yeah.
That was Seth's 90th place right there. Swung for the fences. Did I have to bring that one up out of all of them?
That was a risk. I took a risk. I had 3 8-pounders on beds in this cove. I caught one, lost one. Someone else caught the other, and I got a DQ. So easy now, Darren. Easy.
You poked the bear over here with me with my monthly tournaments. I get to poke back.
Yeah, when are you gonna win one of those?
I won
now
last
he
year.
doesn't have a job, so all he gets to do is fish. So
Ohio. He should win them. Yeah, damn, we fully expect a May victory.
Here's the problem. I find myself like, okay, I need to amplify my content creation, not go fishing more. And so, I went fishing all day today. Don't get me wrong. I had a good time. But typically for one day on the water, you're spending like a day and a half on the editing floor, replying to the emails. And I get like 75 to lately, like 150 comments or emails a day just around the content stuff. And I like to actually go through and respond. And so, it's interesting. Illumination said, Wendell loves duck hunters so much it rains birdshot in his yak. I fish with Illumination in like October. My gosh, I can't even get to some of my spots because there's literally duck hunters on every corner of every island, and you're just fishing peace and quiet. The bird, boom! It just like jolts you, and then all this shot starts coming down around your kayak. That's Ohio. I love it.
Sketchy.
Love it.
Sounds like South Texas fishing.
There you go. Do you have any confidence baits, Austin, that you're like, hey, these are my top 3, just in general?
Glide bait.
Which glide?
Depends on the time of year. I've got. Well, let me just keep it simple, not keep it difficult. If I'm gonna pick one and be done with it, it's gonna be the Buka Trick Shad, 7-inch. All
right, 7-inch. Okay.
Big.
Okay.
Or the Spro KGB, the mass-produced one. Those are my top 2 as far as versatility. They're most versatile. You can swim them, you can wide glide them, and you can chop them. There's certain glide baits that they excel at one or the other. They can't do all 3, and those 2 actually can do all 3 pretty dang good. So
You know how to work them. All right.
So a glide, if we're going, not go crazy with it. A chatterbait, it's easy, and then a swim jig. And I don't have a lot of luck with swim jigs, but I have confidence in them for some reason. Like I just know that they're versatile and I can get bit with them.
I love me a swim jig. Last year I caught my
I don't
biggest
catch a lot of
biggest
big
bass.
fish on them. I really don't catch a lot of big fish, but I catch, good fish on them and catch a lot of fish. So.
That bites that's a fun hook set as well.
Oh, there's
When it comes, there's a billion bladed jigs out there. You mentioned the chatterbait. Is there one specifically you're like, hey, I like this, and I like this for what reason?
The jackhammer and the baby jack.
Okay, you're just straight Z-man.
And you can call me cliche, typical, whatever you want, but there's no denying that the baby jack or the jackhammer is not the greatest. Whatever they found to react to a lateral line, they did something. But I'm gonna tell you why I like the baby jack the most. I like it more than a jackhammer, and I'm gonna tell you why.
All right.
I think because over the years, the fish have felt that and heard that same hit over and over and over, and they got used to it. And now we're giving them, because that baby jack has a tinier blade and a different hook and all that, it's giving them a different hit to feel, to attract to. I went out the other day and I tied on a baby jack and I tied on a jackhammer.
Mm-hmm.
Same weight and same color, same whatever, and I got hit more on the baby jack consistently than I did the jackhammer. And I know this certain fishery gets hammered with the jackhammer. Could be wrong, could be luck, but I think it's a different hit.
Okay.
And you want to know another chatterbait tip that a lot of people don't do?
Of course I do.
All right, so
Bring the juice, Austin.
Do you throw a leader on your chatterbait, or do you throw straight fluoro?
Well, when I was down there with you, you hooked me up with the
I'm gonna tell y'all this right
now.
now. Throw a braid to leader combo and change up your leader. There's times where I will throw a half-ounce jackhammer on 8 and 10 pound test leader. And what that's going to let that do is
science us. Learn us.
It's going to let that bait get a different hit, and it's going to either let it hunt more, and it'll give it a different action that fish aren't used to seeing. Like on Gunnersville, if I go to Gunnersville, right, and I know most people are going to be throwing a chatterbait on 15 to 17 or 18, I'm going to go. I throw a chatterbait on 25 pound test on a 30 pound braid leader, or I'm going to go all the way down, and it gets a different hit. The bait moves differently. It sounds differently. Everything. So there's a little chatterbait tip for you chatterbait fishermen.
There you go. We got 62 live right now. If you have not yet done so, please hit the like button. Get this some extra juice after it's all said and done. So when it comes to, if you tried all the other, everyone has kind of
I've tried the slobber knocker. I've tried them all.
Nothing comes close, in your
Nothing
opinion?
comes close. I'll say this. I think it might be. I'd get out there and I'm like, I'm going to throw the slobber knocker now because I want to be different than everybody throwing a jackhammer on Gunnersville.
Yeah.
And then the second that I'm not getting bit, it's like, okay, let me tie my confidence lure back on. Like Alex Rudd. Alex Rudd swears by the slobber knocker. He gets hit on the slobber knocker. He does. He does it in the creek and he does it on lakes. Yeah. But it's just not my confidence lure.
It always makes me laugh because everyone's like, oh, I only catch it on whatever it is. Well, it's because that's the only one you own. And that's the only one you fish. So, of course, it's the only one that you're going to catch it on. Yeah. It's your confidence lure because it's the only one you ever bought. It always cracks me up.
Or you just don't give it the time of day. The minute it stops working, you're just like, yeah, I'm done.
If you don't catch a donkey in the first cast, this is a piece of junk.
I fell for this on jerk baits. I was a believer that you could only throw a megabass 110 and get hit. Then I said, you know what? I'm hanging all my megabasses up. I'm going to start throwing 6 cents ones. Started throwing 6 cents provokes and stuck it in my hand, and now I'm getting bit on them.
Yeah, there you go.
So
I like it. Let me see my comments over here.
Pepper
Angler says, I've got no confidence in a chatterbait. I like it. I get a lot of that. Actually, Seth, you notice that a lot in the comments. When I start talking about chatterbaits, bladed jigs, everyone's like, either I love it, I catch my biggest bass, most bass with it. In my polls, I see the same thing. However, it's like feast or famine. Then you got other people like, I've tried fishing that so much, I can't catch freaking anything on the chatterbait.
I think that's about, I don't know if it's just chatterbaits. I think that's like all baits you talk about. I think there's a group of folks that just don't have confidence in it. They have the recency bias of using it and not catching any fish or not really catching any fish. It might be the wrong application, or it might just be bad luck at that time and it just didn't bite. But anytime you talk about a bait, there's a lot of people that are like, dude, I can't stand jerk baits, or I can't Senko. I never catch anything on a Senko. I don't know if there's any of those folks, but
no, there's not.
Yeah,
it's impossible not to catch the bass on Senko. Yeah. So good. Let's switch gears a little bit. And I'm going to ask you a little bit about, do you do any night fishing? I know your pops goes out night fishing because I went with him.
Yeah, I do. I love night fishing.
Okay.
The only reason I don't do it more is because I kind of have to make content creation to,
Yeah, and it's terrible for content creation.
We can't see you.
It's kind of hard to fish all night and then go back the next morning and say, all right, let's go. And then you got to edit and more of a time. If it was up to me, pretty much from maybe now-ish, there's still a good daylight bite because of shad spawn and up until the afternoon. But like, let's say June to September, I just night fish. If I was just a person who just didn't have to create content or didn't have to worry about it, I would just night fish the whole rest of the months. Because I also think bass get to a certain point, they feel these pressure, and for all you hunters out there, it's kind of like you're pressuring a buck, right? So you turn him nocturnal. He ain't moving or walking around until nighttime. I think some big bass, no science behind this. This is just pure.
I mean, follow the logic, right?
Yeah. I think they just go, I'm just not going to feed during the day.
There is science behind that. There's a book written on that where they track these big bass. I have it somewhere over here. I can look for it.
Is that Knowing Bass?
No, it's not Knowing Bass.
It's a different one.
It's a different book. But they track these big bass and they stay like on these stumps out in like 20 feet. And I forget which lake it was. And these are like 12 pounders, something like that. And the only time they would go shallow is at nighttime and during the spawn. And they would come right back out to like their home little range. Yeah. There's a lot of
eat during the day. So your chances of catching that fish is 0.001.
Yeah. Well, you guys talk.
No, this is good. I need to go out night fishing more. It was actually a lot of fun.
Can you tell us about night fishing, Daren? Because, I mean, like, you just throw baits like you normally do, or like
no,
what is
you want to? Here's two
I've never
things.
done it.
You want to contrast, obviously. So like, I actually probably have one. Yeah, I got one tied on right here. Actually, hold on. Actually, you're talking about night fishing, and I'm over here going through some night fishing stuff. Well, so you want. Let's see if I can get this to focus. You want dark baits, black, blue, and purple. Right.
All right.
You want that to contrast, and then it's pretty. This is another big spinner blade, and then you want vibration. You want them to be able to contrast it, and you want them to feel it because they're going to feed off of their lateral line a bunch. And then on a full moon, right, where it's just bright outside, and it is that full moon. If it's bright, no clouds, is the sun. So you know how you always want to have the sun in your face when you're fishing, so you're not casting shadows across. At night, the moon will do the same thing to you. So if you're on a point, right, and the moon is at your back and you're trying to fish right in front of you, you're probably spooking fish because there will be a shadow that is casted. If you don't believe me, when it's bright outside on a full moon, go out there and hold your hand up and you'll see the reflection on the ground. Same thing happens at night. Keep that in mind. Keep those two things in mind, and then you want noise, vibration, and contrast. That's it.
So I thought I was really blown away. I was like, how? I mean, I can't even see half the time. Now I could see if the moon was shining because we didn't have a full moon that night. But on the other side of the banks, I couldn't see freaking anything, so I had to cast shallow.
Yep.
I caught more bass at night than I did during the day. Easy. And I don't have to fight anybody. There's no wake. There's no wind.
The person you're fighting is the tree limb you got hung
100% in the thorns. And I caught a beaver for the first time. I don't know if you guys saw that video. I did an uncut video for 4.5. You didn't watch my 4.5 hour video, Seth?
Oh, it was in the full video?
It was in the uncut. It was the first minute.
I was afraid you're gonna take a leak in like hour 2 or something. I couldn't. I'm like,
No,
I
I turned it off for that. So it's semi-cut.
You're good,
And so
you're good.
I throw, I forget what it was a baby jack. I know what it was. So the sun was coming up, and I throw it, count 1 1,000, 2 1,000, and set. I was like, oh, and that's a log. I think they gave me set it on the camera.
And that log had
But
a
it
big
starts
old tail
floating
on it,
up.
started moving.
It's like, bro, this is a beaver. And I must have got its tail because it wasn't like thrashing. It wasn't going crazy. I have a feeling if I would have hooked it anywhere else, but I would have went wild. And their tails are really like thick, leathery.
Yeah.
And so I have this thing, and it's like, crunk, 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 and I'm like, what do I do? Because one, I think these animals are freaking awesome, right? I don't want to hurt it. 2, that's a $17 baby jack, and I don't have another one in my boat.
Priority number 1, get the jackhammer back.
Yes, and so I was like, I gotta try to get this thing back. And so I'm like fighting this thing, and I didn't have it very long, and I just kind of tugged on it, and it came out, which was nice. And he just kind of floated away, like he didn't care at all that I just hooked his tail, and he was like, "What in the world's going on?" But that's the first beaver I've ever caught in my entire life. So then I went back.
Darken your colors up and give them something to feel. If you're throwing a creature bait, throw something that's got 40 million appendages on it, just moving in all kinds of ways. If you're throwing a spinnerbait, go to a big Colorado instead of, you're just your typical double willow. Get my face out of it. That's one of my favorites, actually. That's a 1 ounce Berkeley something power spinnerbait with a big old blade on it.
The Class C kayaker says last year it was like I could only catch them if it was dark outside. And so
I really do I really believe it. I didn't know that there was science behind it. I've never seen a study or anything on it.
I can't find the book. This is the book that it's in there somewhere, but I don't want to sit in there and have a bunch of books. But this is a book called Bill Murphy. It's In Pursuit of Giant Bass. He's caught giants. This is before. I mean, dude, it has all kinds of.
Oh yeah.
It's really good. It's his life. It's his life story and how he catches all these double digits throughout his life. So that's a good one. But there is science, and I'll figure out that book, and I don't know. I'll post it on my Instagram story or something at some point.
Oh, that'd be fascinating.
Next year, if I find it.
Yeah. No, I love it. Here's a question for you, Austin.
Yep.
What's one mistake you think a lot of anglers make in summer bass fishing?
In summer bass fishing,
mm-hmm.
that they're shallow just because it's warm outside, and so they just stay on the bank. Get off the bank.
It's intimidating if you don't have electronics, which
it is.
I've done polls on this, at least for those who follow the window fishing community. Only maybe 30 to 40% actually have electronics, and out of that 30 to 40%, most of them only use it for a depth finder. They don't actually know how to like read it. I'm not saying this is what people have told me. It's like, I haven't taken the time to really dial that thing in. And so, yeah, it wasn't.
I mean, if we remove electronics from it, then just either. Here's what I'll say. I think a lot of people don't do what you just said a second ago. Count your bait down. Everybody wants to chunk and wind. Play with counting your bait down. Count 1,000, 2,000, depending on the weight. If you got a half-ounce bait, it's going to sink a little faster, and play with it. Play with depths. Don't just stick with one depth. Fish move, and sometimes it's daily. Something forward-facing sonar taught me is these fish will move up and down stuff all day. They're not just sitting in one spot sometimes. They're moving around. They're going up on the flat, off the flat, out in the middle, and then coming back.
Yeah, I was doing that with the baby jack, throwing it out to shore. It was a steep area. It was like 1 1,000, 2 1,000, nothing. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. Pull until I finally hit the grass, and eventually pick them up. Okay, they're at 4, and so I'll run 4 along this bank and see if you can pick some more up.
If you're going down a bank, right? I've got a stretch that I plan on throwing a chatterbait. Do 5 to 8 casts with one count. Do 5 to 8 with another count. Do 15 with this count, and then if you get bit, mark that. Throw that one for maybe, let's say, 20 times now. You don't get bit to that, change it again. Some days there is no pattern. Some days there is no rhyme or reason, and you're just out there going, man, I feel like I'm getting lucky. And you are, because a lot of fishing sometimes can be luck. But then other days you're like, I will not get bit. And like you said, until I count to 4, and bam.
There they are.
That's the thing about fishing. Sometimes it's just a little thing. It's just a simple,
Micro adjustments.
like for me, like since we're chatterbait heavy, right? This past year, I've really learned that I need to slow down my chatterbait, like really slow it down, like so much that I'm almost thinking about going to a 6-4 to 1. And I've been a 7-1 on a chatterbait my entire life. There should be no other reason that you should have anything else. But I've caught more bigger fish this year by slowing my chatterbait down, slow rolling it.
Okay.
Putting a pause in it, and then you'll get bit.
You ever break out the big blade at night?
Oh yeah. No, it's not over. I was about to say it's sitting right over there, but it's actually in the box now. Yeah. Give them noise and vibration. Unless it's still, all right. If it's windy, give them noise and vibration. If it's calm, give them profile, like a big jig or a big worm. Or I have not had much luck if it's like calm and I'm throwing big vibration and big noisy things at them. Just I don't know. It's kind of like daylight. You know, if it's daylight outside. If it's windy outside, you want to throw a crankbait or a spinnerbait. If it's not, you want to throw a swim jig or just a swim bait on a jig head kind of deal. Same kind of concepts.
Seth, anything to add on that? I didn't realize this, but we're at 1 hour and 13 minutes. Like, we usually start lining that plane around an hour. It's been a great conversation, Austin. Appreciate you.
No, it's interesting. The night fishing thing's interesting to me because some of these tournaments that we fish, it is dark when lines are in. Just depends on the time of year. Like it's pretty dark on some, like black on some of them. Yeah. And I, besides when I used to fish on Lake Conroe from like the bulkheads where I used to live right on the lake there, I used to catch them on bulkheads at nighttime. But I have never caught a bass in the dark on my kayak. Even in these events. Yeah, even like some of the events.
You're one of the absolute best states.
I know. I just suck, I guess. I don't know. Like I've never caught a bass in the dark. It has to like start breaking daylight, and then I start getting bites. Maybe I don't know. I just stink at it. I'm not doing the right thing. Or the thing that might be more common is that I'm prepared. Like I have my practice session. My fish are during daylight hours. Like I have them in these areas, and I'm throwing like daylight presentations, or just throwing a wacky rig and just kind of being loose with it till the sun comes up. That might be another reason. But yeah, I haven't had success at night. So it's interesting when you guys went and just fished all night in the dark and caught them. I was like, dude, I can't
find it so weird about fishermen. They just I don't know if it's like how people's minds are built or their temperaments or their patience. Just some people like, what's a technique? Chad and I were just talking about something the other day about heavy confidence in. What was it? I don't remember. My brain's shutting down for the day. But just how some people have their thing and then some people just complete opposite of it. I don't know. It's just a random thought I'm having right now.
Yeah.
It's just.
I need to go fishing in the dark. Nitty gritty dirt band. But I need to go fishing in the dark and catch some fish to get my night fishing confidence
there you
up.
Go.
There you go.
Be careful. It's addicting too because Chad says this. I'm gonna quote Chad. Fishing at night is fishing in IMAX. Everything is sensitive. Everything is heightened.
Well,
you lose one sense, so the other senses have to pick it up. There is nothing like catching like a good. I'm not gonna put a number on it, but a quality fish at night, and it's just coming unglued. It's just a different.
I can see that for sure. The big problem in Florida is you shine your light out there. There's like
gators.
There's
two eyeballs,
glowing eyeballs.
Like you get to the boat ramp on some of these lakes and you shine your light out there. It's like, ooh, I did not realize there were so many of you
under me the whole time.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That is true.
From Travis Gage, how do you deal with the bugs when fishing at night?
Thermocells.
Yeah, those are good.
Friend. Thermocells, clip it to the back of your seat so it's as close to you, or just put it right there in front of you.
I don't think I've heard of this. What are these?
Thermocells.
Thermocells?
We use them for soccer practice. Anytime in the evening. Thermocells where it's at, man.
I've never heard of this.
And I will also tell you this: most bugs, other than Florida, because Florida, like I said, with everything in life is its own creature. After the first hour of daylight, they kind of dissipate. They really taper off. I don't know what happens on the water. I don't know if they go to land or who knows. Yeah. But usually after the first hour, it kind of peters out and there's not as bad. So if you're like really worried about bugs, just wait till don't get to the ramp till 10 o'clock. It's been dark for 2 hours, an hour and a half most places. Get you one of these right here.
Yep.
Oh,
dude. So there's boat ramps here in Florida. Okeechobee's one of them, where you literally cannot function when you get to the boat ramp at dark. And like if it's breaking daylight, and you're at the boat ramp, or at night, there's just mosquitoes like hundreds and like if you have everything covered, you have to wear
thousands.
sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Like
I've seen videos.
It's so bad. But if you
down
put
in Texas too, right?
Oh yeah, Texas is bad too.
You put a thermocell on, the majority of the time it'll take away almost all the mosquitoes, and you'll have like a random one or two that'll swing by and get you.
So they're legit.
It's pretty. Okay. It's pretty legit.
Yeah, and then bug spray, obviously, get you some bug spray, and that'll help. Cover if your skin can handle it. Like I can't wear bug spray. I've got.
Just don't get it on your baits.
Yeah, don't get it on your baits for sure. Don't spray it on your hand. Don't spray it on your hands and then touch your baits because you probably will not get bit for the rest of the night.
That's in the Knowing Bass book, The Scientific Approach to Bass Fishing. That's the number one to bass.
I just when I don't want bugs around my face, I just smoke a cigar and they're gone. Gone.
There you go. Smoke them.
No, there you go.
I just smoke.
I don't do it all the time. I went like night fishing 3 times in my life, and all of which is in the last 3 weeks.
All the time.
It is addicting, folks. It really is truly addicting. So gotta get it. It's hard to do, right? I mean, now that I'm full time, I'm like, okay, I can do it. But when I wasn't, it's like, okay, when I got to do it Saturday night, and then I got to sleep,
I see this comment.
Terrible.
I'm interrupting because I'm preparing you. Illumination 79. He says you guys will experience mosquitoes in Canada. Yes, we will. The worst experience of mosquitoes I've ever had in my entire life is in Canada.
Oh yeah.
It'll put Florida to shame.
Oh, so I don't need to go there.
Crap. I didn't think about that up at Vancouver Island. I need to do some research on that.
Yeah. Thanks, Illumination 79.
Yeah, I fish with Nathan.
So bring you a bunch of cigars, Daren.
I need to bring a thermocell, apparently.
Yeah,
definitely. I didn't know existed until 5 minutes ago. Like, what is it? Is it a?
So it's got a heating. It's got a heat. Go ahead, Seth.
Yeah, it's like a battery powered.
Okay.
Thing that heats up the top, like Austin was saying, and it has a.
It's got like a hot plate, like a mini hot plate in it.
Has a little cartridge, a blue cartridge up there. I don't know if you want to show it, Austin.
Yeah,
I'm trying to bring it up even. Has like a little blue cartridge that the heat is pushed out through, and it has like this thermocell liquid that pushes out kind of through as like an air.
You see this thing?
I see it.
This thing heats up. Now, they do have battery ones, but most of them are, what's in this thing is like little butane or propane.
Yeah, they got butane. Yep.
So you see that little plate right there? That's like a little hot plate. So you slide this thing in between that right there, and then as it heats up, it's burning this and it's putting out insect repellent. It's putting out smoke in a way.
Yeah, you can kind of see it ish.
There's another tornado warning.
Oh, look at another one.
The number 9.
But it's good, man.
Yeah.
All right. How much do those things run?
About $30-$40.
Okay, it's not too bad. I mean, I'd pay that before I got eaten alive by mosquitoes. When I used to fit, I've gone up a couple times up to the Boundary Waters in Minnesota, and the black flies and the mosquitoes are so insane. I would portage to a new lake, and I'd hear this like overwhelming buzz, and it was just the mosquitoes. There's so many of them. I could hear the hum from hundreds of yards away. I was like, holy crap, this is insane. So that was a good time. You always have to go like the middle of the lake to get away with them. All right, Daren, you're really showing your cards here, not knowing what a thermocell is. I'm not a hunter. I have a feeling like if you're a hunter or if you live in the South, I don't deal with a ton of bugs up here in Ohio. And so
the South, there ain't nobody in the South that don't know what a thermocell is.
That's true. True story. Seth, any last questions for Austin before we let him go find shelter somewhere before NATO takes him?
Yeah, what's next for you, Austin, besides getting into cover in your basement here with the tornadoes? Like, what's next for you? Is it continue making content? You got anything?
Yeah, I'm literally getting off of this, and I'm getting off of this thing, and I'm going to go edit a fishing video from the other day till about 1 o'clock in the morning, maybe.
He just can't go to sleep with these tornadoes. He's like, I gotta stay awake.
I
There's
got
no
editing to do.
I'm trying to go fish in the morning too. So, but I kind of have to get some work done so I can go fishing. So it's kind of one of them things to where I need to work before you play kind of deal. So I'm gonna stay up and edit, and then that way hopefully I can go fishing in the morning if I don't get Wizard of Oz out of here.
Good out there.
Well, I look forward to hanging out with you some more.
Oh, we're about to be real close for 9 days. And
yeah, I know.
9 days.
Are you bringing like your drones and all that stuff? You bringing the whole?
I had
whole
to talk with Wade. Wait. I'm gonna bring my A7 for my photography camera and 2 lenses because they need some buttery stills and stuff, and then my DJIs. I don't think I'm bringing a drone. I don't know what the law, but like
Clean.
high res.
Got it.
High res still. I don't know if I'm bringing a drone because the laws over there about flying drones are always weird.
You're in the middle of nowhere.
It's airspace. It don't matter.
Just sink it.
I'm a drone. I'm a licensed pilot here,
Yeah.
but I get
perfect.
it. But man, my gosh, interesting.
Well, if I could take one, then I'll take one.
We'll see. Keith might know a little bit about it, but
I gotta
look
pack.
forward to hanging out with you. It's going to be a good time. I've never caught. The only thing I've caught is Chinook and coho. So all the
That's
other,
all
the
I've caught.
others.
Well, I haven't even caught a Chinook.
No.
So we went to Wisconsin and I caught one coho. That's it.
Okay. Should be a good time. We'll see. Seth, sad, won't be there joining us.
I'll be there
Winning another
living
tournament.
In
vicariously.
spirit, he will
I'll
be
be
there.
watching your stories.
Yeah. I love it.
Living vicariously.
Oh, bro, I did have one last question for you, Austin. And
Okay.
do you use any type of apps to help you identify bite windows? And how do you take those in consideration? Or is it just kind of good to know? Do you actually travel around that? Because you have a lot of freedom with kind of doing this and being able to go whenever you want, because you can create the time by editing at different times. Like, for instance, 1 a.m. in the morning.
For sure. Bass Forecast and
That's your go-to?
Bass Forecast, and I use Bass Forecast and Omnia. I used to use Deep Dive a lot, but then Omnia came out with the update that's got all the wind effects, so for the same thing. Love Deep Dive. Not crapping on them.
No.
The app has taught me a bunch. Still use it here and there, but Bass Forecast is probably my number one for feeding times. And then Omnia, and then I use both of those apps and kind of cross-reference to come up with a game plan.
What do you like about the Omnia that the Bass Forecast does not offer?
So the Omnia has, I'm a Lowrance guy, so they have all the CMAP. I'll just show you, so people don't have to guess. For the people that don't know, Omnia. So let's go about. Why is it not working right now? Here we go. So let's say during the spawn, right? We're coming into the spawn. What do bass like to spawn on? Hard bottoms. So.
Oh, that was a question. I thought you were like.
Yeah. It wasn't rhetorical, Daren. We were supposed to answer.
Oh, my bad.
It's all good.
I thought he was going on the.
It was on me.
So
like another instance. So they have everything from the CMAP stuff that a lot of people actually don't know. You can actually do this on your laptop. But since Omnia partnered up, and then they've got Navionics on here too for you Garmin folks. You can go on and pull this up, and bright red is hard spots, right? So all this is from the Genesis Social, where this is an actual boat who went out and drove over it, and the sonar took the hardness of it, and then they upload it to this, and they have an algorithm and an AI that does stuff like that. So the fact that, and then they've got water clarity, they've got all that, they got the vegetation. Pretty much this menu right here is all stuff that I love about Omnia that Deep Dive doesn't have. But I still use Deep Dive because Deep Dive's wind, I will say their wind thing, that little slider you're talking about, going back, forward, I think that's untouched right now. But that's what I like about it, like especially during the spawn and post spawn, right? The shad spawn after the bass, on Gunnersville, the gizzard are going to spawn on hard long points. So I'll just go on here just to help narrow down some water, or just just get me in a right area. If I can pull this up, I'll just go to one of my spots. If I just go over here and I find me, if it'll load, my Wi-Fi is knocked out, so I'm running everything.
That's because the tornadoes are ripping through all the towers right now.
Come on, load. Anyway, so you can kind of see it right there. See
Everybody listening in is like, I can't see freaking anything. So what we're looking at is just a variety of different color shading, similar to what we're talking about earlier.
All right, so let me we're down. The yellow is very, very soft bottom. It's like mud clayish. The red is hard rock bottom. Well, shad and bass love to spawn on hard bottom. So I always say getting into a creek and try to, where in this creek? I know I need to be in this creek, but where in this creek do I need to fish? Using stuff like this, it'll help you dial in a pattern. It could help you. Everything's about could help you. So you get zoomed in and you say, hey, or I know back here in the back of this creek right here, that entire back of that creek is majority of hard flat.
Spawning frenzy.
Helps you be efficient on the water too. Helps you
be efficient. That's really.
Seth, do you use anything like this?
I don't.
Apps that you use?
I don't. Not those apps. I know Omnia though. I thought about a month ago before I went to Dale Hollow. It was I thought about purchasing it, and then I just lost train of thought, I guess. But it was $60, something like that for the year.
Yeah, for the year.
It's 80 for the year.
80, yeah.
So I think they're all around 80 now.
Omnia, I saw that it has some pretty cool features, like what Austin's showing. So that might be in my future. Just anything to be more efficient, especially when you only have a couple practice days when you're fishing events, or if you're fishing.
If you're a traveler, yeah.
Whew. Yeah, you only have a day or two to fish. You want to get on fish pretty quick. So to be able to eliminate water, really helpful.
Yeah, I'm using mine
right here. Look, here's I'm just going to show some people just so they have a reference on stuff like what I would fish. Right here, we got a hard flat, for some fish shad to spawn on or for some bass to spawn on. But then they have the channel. Then they have the channel for deep water right beside them. So you can see there's a hard flat and then there's the channel. So that's a good spot to go look this time of year. You find a brush pile on that flat, just hold on. You're going to get your arm broke.
Setting into the logs.
I love it. Well, Austin, I'm going to let you go since I know you got to edit till the early morn, but appreciate you. If you have, I don't typically ask this, but if you haven't done so and you've already made it to the end of this podcast, if you go over to Apple and leave a review, I would be super appreciative. Trying to get some of those reviews in there. We got a good, I think 4.9 star rating going. So help us do that. It'd be great. Hit that like button on YouTube if you haven't done it. And before we go, a big thanks to Dark Horse Tackle, who brings this show to you. American small business stuff that's being made out of garages, and a lot of this stuff is just really cool. It's a little bit different than a lot of the other tackle out there. So check them out at darkhorsetackle.com. Make sure you don't miss next week. I'm going to call it the party, giving away kayaks, gift cards, all kinds of giveaways. It's just going to be a good time. So you'll be hearing more about that because I'll be ramping up a lot of the promotions this upcoming week. But everybody, I'll see you next Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. Austin, thank you so much. Seth, thank you so much. You guys have a good one. Everyone else, thank you.
Take care, guys.
See ya. I'm going to find some shells.